All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Purpose Power Profits, how to increase your impact on the world. I am Jay Jackson, and I tell you, I am excited for phenomenal experience that we have in store for you throughout this entire experience. So with me today is Paul Carrick Brunson, mentor, entrepreneur, television host, author, but most importantly, husband to Jill, father to Kingston and Liam. I promise you, you're going to experience his values. They're going to come through to you on the screen. But we're going to talk to you today, entrepreneur to entrepreneur, give you some practical tips on how you can increase your profits in your business. And the theme of Purpose Power Profits for me, guys, it actually came from Bishop T.D. Jakes' book, Soar. And the major component is there are a lot of purpose-driven entrepreneurs out there who get so caught up in purpose and they lose sight of the most important aspect is profits. Because if you don't have profits, you can't continue your mission. You can't continue your impact that you're supposed to have on those you are here and called to serve. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Paul Carrick Brunson. How you doing today, sir?
Jay, I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. And also, thank you for mentioning my wife and my boys by name. That's something I really appreciate. It makes me feel at home. So thank you.
It's an honor, brother. You make sure that your wife and your sons receive all the praise and glory as a husband and a father should. And that is a value that I personally enjoy about following and watching your journey. And I think it's very important as Black men that we ensure that we display that to the larger group of society, because I think, of course, as you know, we've been painted as just deviants, and we don't realize that, hey, there are some successful brothers out here who are doing phenomenal things in the world and actually leading our homes for future generations. So I appreciate you for being a perfect example of that.
Much respect, much respect.
All right, so some of you guys may or may not know, Paul really started this journey for me. A few years ago, I went to Steve Harvey's inaugural Act Like a Success conference, and I talk about it all the time. The suit was clean, the shoes were shining, the smile was just ting, you know, Colgate should have gave him a commercial or something like that. But I tell you guys, what we're going to talk about today in terms of entrepreneurship and what it takes for you to increase profits in your business, I want you to really go and get your notepad right now, grab a pen, always make sure you're capturing notes anytime you participate in a virtual event or even a live event, because you want to go back and take your notes and study. Don't depend on your memory for everything, so you need your notes. But the first thing I really want to Paul to do is, Paul, share briefly your story so that people can really understand who you are and what makes you an expert as an entrepreneur.
Sure, absolutely. So this is a great question for me because I always like to say I am Jamaican. Like I'm literally Jamaican, right? And then secondly is I'm Jamaican from the standpoint of I have, man, Jay, you know, like 8-9 jobs. And I will also say that at one point I had about 7 jobs, and my grandfather from Kingston, Jamaica, called me lazy. So that just shows you, like, I'm officially Jamaican. But I think this whole journey for me started in terms of entrepreneurship. It really started in middle school. So in middle school, I was the nerdiest dude in the world. And my hobby, so Jay, like, you think about the nerdiest hobby you could have. You know what my hobby was in middle school?
What was it?
It was writing business plans. Like, so that's what I did. Like real talk. I had a composition notebook and I would write down business plans. As a matter of fact, I believe I had the first idea for, you know how like there's the Pizza Hut with the Kentucky Fried Chicken and the Taco Bell at the same drive-through?
Right.
That was me, like in the 80s. That was me in the 80s, right? So that's what I did. You know, I wrote these business plans. And then from there, you know, when I got into high school, my favorite thing to do was read Black Enterprise or read Forbes magazine and conceptualize businesses. And then I started creating businesses, not like, you know, big businesses, but little things where I sold sock puppets. You know, I sold like cans of Coca-Cola, you know, to construction workers. You know, I didn't just deliver the paper. I set up a contract so I could have my own company that delivered the paper, right? I did all of those little things when I was, at that point. But it wasn't until I got out of college and I became an investment banker that I really got steeped into the theory and practice at a very high level of entrepreneurship. So when I got out of school, I was an investment banker, but in particular, I was an equity analyst. So it was my job. Now, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like I was like, some senior guy. I was the junior, right? I was the guy, right, crunching spreadsheets and numbers and that kind of thing. But I worked for the top banking analyst in the world. Actually, his name is Ed Najarian. And if you Google him, you'll see that he's had a phenomenal career on Wall Street. But what I did with Ed is I would go with Ed and we would go visit companies. And we would talk to the executives, the CEOs, the CFOs, the C-level executives down to the managers. We'd learn about the business. We would pore over their financial statements. And then we would project where the revenues and the profit, and Jay, that's what you want to be talking about, right? Where the profit would be going. We would project that. And then that would be handed to the investment bank. And that's what investors would use to determine if they were going to invest in these companies. They would use our research, the research that we were writing. So that was really when I became steeped in this. And then since then, I have founded several businesses, three of which, the three most prominent. One, I sold, and I like to say I sold it, but quite honestly, I sold it for $1, but I did sell it, right? So that's one business. Another one I sold for $1 million. So that was in August of 2016. That was my matchmaking agency. Sold that for a little over $1 million. And then there's another company that I didn't necessarily sell. I sold some of my equity, but it still exists today. And it does probably 15 million plus in revenue. As a matter of fact, Jay, when you come down to interview me in DC, we'll be at that location. And so I have really gone from, middle school, writing and dreaming about creating businesses, now, as an adult, to creating several businesses. And I can tell you that I love what you said in terms of not losing sight of the profit, because I think that's ultimately what makes for a successful business, right? Is do you generate income? If you don't have a business. So that's a little bit about why I think this is an area that's one that's very familiar to me.
So what have you known or recognized from your personal experience, or even coaching and mentoring other entrepreneurs? What is the one biggest, I guess, mental hurdle or mental setback that a lot of entrepreneurs experience when they're really trying to go from that startup phase and really start to get into growth?
Yeah. The one is hard to determine, right? The one thing. But, Jay, I'm talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I've seen this variety of things, but I would probably put it all under the umbrella of belief. But when I say belief, is more so belief because they haven't seen it done successfully. Unfortunately, because of social media, and I will say I'm not like a naysayer on social. I love social. As a matter of fact, I think content strategy through social is now the key way to increase your profits in your business or increase recognition as a thought leader. But the negative that's come with social is that everybody out here is acting like they are the CEO of a successful business. And a matter of fact, on Instagram, I follow the hashtag entrepreneur, and the number one piece of content that you see come out are like, Bugattis and Porsches and, some fancy cars and fancy homes. And that has nothing to do with entrepreneurship. As a matter of fact, most entrepreneurs, the average revenue that an entrepreneur brings in right now, small business entrepreneur, it's about $70,000 a year. I mean, nobody making $70,000 is driving around in a Bugatti, right? But yet that is what is depicted as what being an entrepreneur is. And so when you think about that, you think, oh my God, if I am making $70,000 or $50,000 or $10,000, I'm not successful. And therefore your belief begins to drop, and therefore then that creeps into the success of your business. And so long story short is there is this, I think, this attack on belief. And so if entrepreneurs can begin to believe, and I think you begin to believe by getting around great content, like Jay, I think everything that you're doing right now, this is great content. All the speakers, you just outline all the speakers that you have, and, all the content you're putting out. Stay around content like that Jay is producing. Jay, you talked about the events that you went to. Act like a success event. Like you've put in the work so that you can not only understand the tools, but so that you can reshape your mindset. And it's mindset really where I think we win or lose. So that belief is what attacks us. And I think we fight the belief by doing all the things that you do, Jay. Getting around great content, getting around great people.
Absolutely, guys. I promise you, he is telling you step by step exactly what you need to do. Make sure that you are attending the conferences, the workshops, and the books. I mean, one of the amazing things, Paul, you can see in Paul's backdrop, is you have to be a lifelong learner. You have to be a student, not just of any content, but make sure you're reading content of people who are doing the things that you want to do. You may only want to be a six-figure earner, or you want to get to millionaire status, or you might want to be a billionaire. Like I know this guy who's on the screen with me, we are definitely striving for that. So you have to start reading the books and thinking the way that those individuals who are doing the things that you want to do, what they're doing. So good stuff, Paul. So you mentioned one thing in terms of content, and I really think that's very, very important. And I saw that you're getting ready to actually do a project yourself on thought leadership and an influencer. And I saw an email that you sent out. Talk to us about the importance of timing and the delivery of your content to have maximum impact.
Yeah, this is a great question. The email that you're referring to, I think, is I just wrote it about Kylie Jenner. And this is a super quick story, but I think this is a very important, story for, and I think it depicts the importance of timing. So right around the time when we're doing this interview, right, Jay, Kylie Jenner has just sent out a tweet recently where she said she's no longer in love with Snapchat, right? And then what happened is within a few hours, the stock price of Snap dropped. I mean, it dropped literally $1.6 billion. And all of the business analysts, and I used to be that person, that analyst, all said it was because of Kylie, right? So it shows how influential she is. But the major lesson that we can take is not what she just did, it's what she did next. So now, Kylie Jenner, right, she's on the front page of every top business paper. I'm talking about Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, everybody's talking about her. The entire business world, business reporters are looking at her. What do you think the next thing she tweets is? She tweeted that her new collection from her cosmetics line is dropping. Brilliant. Whether or not you like her, brilliant. Now, this is what I've got to say about Kylie, right? Kylie, a lot of people don't realize, she is the CEO and founder of the fastest growing cosmetics company in the history of the world. It's projected to do over $1 billion in sales in 2022, and she just founded it in 2016, right? Now, how did she grow this company? She grew this company because she is an influencer. How did she become an influencer? It's because of content strategy. Now, we could debate, like, what Kylie puts out or what her big sister Kim, like with these new photos or semi-new photos. We could debate about all the content. But the point is that what Kylie Jenner knows, what Kim Kardashian knows, what a lot of other people know, is they know the right content to publish at the right time for the right person. So they may be publishing a content for diehard fans. They may be publishing content for haters, or they may be publishing content for the influencers, like the business journalists that are now going to write about the new collection to help elevate, basically elevate this new product. And so what they do well is they do content strategy well. And this is what I believe all of us, if we are thinking about becoming a thought leader, an influencer, if we are launching a new product, if we are growing our business, if we're trying to increase the profit of our business, we have to include content strategy in that overall marketing plan. And content strategy is the right content to the right person at the right time.
Awesome. Yeah, it's amazing. I'll tell you guys from my own personal experience. until this gentleman on screen actually started coaching me. I had no idea what content strategy was. I didn't have a clue, guys. So that shows you the power of coaching as well. So I appreciate you, Paul, for actually teaching that to me last year when we started to work together. So guys, make sure that you're staying current on current trends. Make sure you actually have an actual strategy. You can actually, whether you do it in a spreadsheet, and there's some nifty templates out there that you can actually utilize to plug in what content you're going to produce over the entire 52-week year. So do whatever you have to do to map out your content strategy and stay on top of current trends so that you can be in the flow of the news. Because if you're not in this distracted world, you will get snuffed out without a doubt. Yep. So let me ask you this, Paul. So if you're getting ready to transition from your full-time job, which I know you've done this before, and you are getting ready to go into entrepreneurship full-time, what are some of the practical steps that you took and you would like to share with the audience to help them start to build a more firm foundation to really take on full-time entrepreneurship every day?
Okay, I'll definitely give you a few. One you just mentioned, and I just want to underscore it, is we've got to read, guys. Like, the bottom line is we're not reading. We're just not. But when you look at who reads the most, CEOs and the wealthiest people of the world. I'm talking about the wealthiest self-made folks in the world, right?
Absolutely.
They read on average between 23, 30 books a year. We have to read, and we have to read because of what Jay just said, because these trends change so quickly. And also the beauty of reading is that you get to learn from the people who have made, actually, let me go back to this. Everyone says that it's Malcolm Gladwell who came up with the 10,000 hour rule, which says that if you study something for 10,000 hours, you become an expert. But it actually wasn't Malcolm Gladwell. And I just have this book sitting here. This wasn't prepared, Jay, but this book was sitting here. Is this book called Peak? It's written by this guy, Anders Ericsson. Anders Ericsson is the person who actually created the 10,000 hour rule. Malcolm Gladwell borrowed it from Anders' research. Now, Anders is upset now because he said that Malcolm Gladwell didn't eloquently describe what the 10,000 hour rule truly is. What the 10,000 hour rule really is it's about deliberate practice. Deliberate practice means you're not just trying something. So you're not just going out to the basketball court, right, shooting for 10,000 hours and think you're going to be great at shooting. No, it's about shooting and then turning to a coach, someone who knows how to shoot properly, and then say, well, how do I do? And the coach would say, nah, you need to, you need to release a little bit faster, or whatever it may be, right? And then you release a little bit faster, and then you go back to the coach. And the coach then gives you more input, and then you try again. And you keep doing that process. That's deliberate practice. If you do deliberate practice for 10,000 hours, you become an expert at something. And so the reason why I say all of this in connection with reading is because all of these books are written by people who've put in 10,000 or more hours. So you could borrow their expertise just by reading the book. So read, that's number one. Number two, I'll say, is the number one reason why businesses fail is not because of lack of money. It's not because of lack of expertise. It's not because of poor staff or any of those reasons. It is because there is no need for the product. Like, you have an idea that works for you, right? Like you come up with this crazy back scratcher, that stretches all the way down to your butt or whatever it may be. And you say, this is cool because my butt always itches and I like to scratch it this way, right?
Right.
But when you try to bring that to the market, it turns out, well, nobody, everybody just reaches back and scratches their butt. They don't need a butt scratcher around the back. So the point is that there's no market need. And so before you think that you could go full time on something, you have to firmly identify, is there need? Is there a market need for your product? And there's lots of, techniques to do that, but that's something that you have to do. That's two. The third thing that I'd say, and I would say, Jay, probably 9.9 entrepreneurs that I talk to don't do this or don't know this. And that is, you have to understand financials. Like you have to understand the basics of a profit loss statement, a cash flow statement, a balance statement, right? You have to know these things. And out of all of those, I would say cash flow statement is the most important. And that's because businesses don't go out of business because of lack of revenue. Typically, that's not the case. A lot of people say that's what it is. That's not the case. Most businesses go out of business because of lack of cash. Mm-hmm. Now, if you know how to manage your cash, you could actually have cash and your revenue still go down, but you still have enough cash to keep your business going. But you don't know that unless you understand what a cash flow statement looks like and then how to begin to manipulate it, you know? And so understanding those fundamentals of cash flow, profit loss, balanced statement, right? Understanding that there must be a market need for your product. And then also understanding that reading truly is fundamental. I think those three things will tremendously help people who seek full-time entrepreneurship.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I appreciate that. You have dropped major nuggets on us today, Paul. So we're going to get ready to wrap this thing up. But before we go, Paul, I want you to share with the viewers why they need to be at the DC stop of Purpose, Power, Profits on July 7th.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Jay, I was thinking about this because, you know, when you asked me to do this, I've actually never been interviewed exclusively, you know, like one exclusive Q&A on a topic like this. This is going to be the first time. And I think this is the most critical topic if you want to start a business or if you've newly started a business. You know, you're within the first 2, 3, 4, 5 years of starting a business. You have to understand how to increase the profits of your business. And so I'm excited because I have never done this before, right? Been able to talk about this in public. And I say public because quite honestly, there are a lot of secrets. There are a lot of tricks and tools and things that I've seen a lot of big businesses do, a lot of small businesses do, that I do that have helped me to increase profit. And that's what I plan to talk about. You know, I plan to go deep down, talk about the secrets, the tips, the hacks, you know, all of the things that you need to increase the profits of your business.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, guys. Get ready. It's going to be amazing. We have an expert who, look, and guess what, guys? We didn't even talk about a major component of his story is his experience working for 2 billionaires and Oprah Winfrey and for you, Jim. Can you imagine the knowledge and wisdom that Paul is going to drop on us when we get to the DC stop of Purpose, Power, Profits? I promise you, the value that you just received in this particular recording is minuscule compared to what you're going to get when you show up live. Paul, I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Say hello to Jill and the boys for me. I look forward to seeing you in DC in a couple of months. Keep doing great work. If it wasn't for you, brother, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So I am grateful for you.
Man, I appreciate it. And Jay, I want to say I'm proud of you, man. You were doing it. Like, I mean, I know this was a dream. You are executing. You're bringing a lot of value. The entire lineup is incredible. You know, how you have orchestrated the entire program, you know, also not just the fact that you're out here doing it, but that you have actually lived this, you know, and I just want to just say that real quick to everybody watching is I think there's a lot of like Me Too happening right now with social, where people, you know, they see someone doing something and then they just go out the next day and they attempt to do it. Right. I see, you know, so-and-so is doing a workshop or doing a telesummit. So I'm just going to go out and do it. But you should have seen, you know, before Jay turned on the camera, he broke down all the people who are part of this telesummit. And he outlined how he has spent years building relationships with each person. I mean, Jay and I go back years. You know, the point here is he put in the work first, right? And now he's rolling out this incredible program and he's seeing the rewards of it. And so I think that Jay is a great model, you know, and I look forward to sharing everything I know on, you know, at the event. So just Jay, I'm proud of you. Thank you for, you know, allowing me to participate in this program.
I appreciate you. I really, really do. All right, guys, you heard it. That's it. We're going to get up out of here now. See you July 7th in DC. Go to purposepowerprofits.com. Make the investment. It is going to completely change your life, change your business, the relationships that you're going to be able to establish and even nurture and build from being in the room. You have to meet with people in real life if you really want to go to the next level. We'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.